Zephrus is comprised of Corey Cranston on guitars, Troy Zephrus on drums and vocals, and Scott McGrath on bass and vocals.
Soldier on tear, fever's bonding.
You know, the thing is, if you're going to have atmosphere, if you're going to create an atmosphere like that, a listening thing where they break it all down and they bring it back, you got to have the skills to back it up. And Zephrus, all of these guys individually, if you listen to the bass line, you listen to that guitar, those power chords, and drums, it all coheres, man.
Each other from previous projects? Is that how you all know each other? Music?
I moved here 6.5 years ago and met up with Mr. Cranston here and got into Band X, which is a band that lasted a 3-year run probably, right?
Yep.
And we played a mix of covers and originals.
We did one album, which was great to work with Troy in the studio and see how, because there were 2 drummers in that band, and to see how Troy, for me, that's where his vocal ability really became apparent, was on that Band X album, because he would be called in, not as the lead singer, but as a background singer to do not only drums, but additional vocals, and it just blew me away how spot on he was with his vocal takes, and then would be able to try a variation of things on top of that as a vocalist. And it's like, well, wait a minute, just 2 hours ago you were playing killer drums and now you're singing. And so that Band X album is a very good starting point for Troy and I.
Scott and I actually, at the same time as Band X, experimented as a duo, doing probably 6, 7, 8 tunes.
And we played a gig at Buono's on Shelburne Road.
It was Buono's.
Yeah.
The actual name of the band in my mind was Project Buono's.
Yeah. That's pretty much the whole shebang right there.
I think, again, out of necessity of wanting to work with Scott and Troy, and knowing that Scott had an upright bass, and Troy was not only a fantastic drummer but also had great vocal abilities as well, that we could pretty much get together and have something happen.
Who does the writing of the songs within the band?
We all share the writing of the music. It's one of the really neat things, and being a trio, I think it definitely works to a balance for the 3 musicians, that we can all share that creativity.
Zephrus has been around since June 2012, officially first live gig. Is that right?
We were around before that, but we had never really decided on the proper name until early last year, about this time. The CD came out last year, and we had our CD release party at Club Metronome.
How did Zephrus become the one?
I spent 6 summers working on Martha's Vineyard, and there's a restaurant called Zephrus there. I still had one of the t-shirts and wore it to practice one day. Black with the gold letters.
That t-shirt actually gets worn by Troy at one show, then myself at the next, and then Scott. So it rotates. Even though we had played a couple of shows with various names, Zephrus came onto our radar screen and we stuck with that, and then because of the higher ground opportunity, we decided to make that the launch for these particular 3 fellas and the name Zephrus.
I don't think any of us really
started this band for the sake of becoming this. I mean, this is like a complete unexpected.
Totally.
The type of music that we ended up playing.
What was the original focus or thought process behind what became Zephrus?
Well, oddly enough, it's exactly what we did for you tonight. In terms of a completely stripped down acoustic. That was my original conversation with Troy.
House material.
Coffee house material. Where we could play anywhere at any time.
How did you morph into the more electric distortion pedal version of Zephrus that we have heard on the album?
I actually had a stress injury in my right arm at one point that made it difficult for me to keep playing the upright bass for a period of time. I switched over to electric bass for that time, and we wrote Shot Heard Around the World,
Port Starboard,
Port Starboard,
Citrus Squeeze,
Fear of Damascus.
Yep.
And so like all these songs started coming out.
Electric.
And then, I think we pretty much decided at some point that we could do everything. We could be electric when we had an electric-friendly forum.
Listening audience.
Yeah. Listening audience and venue.
Yep.
And we could strip back to acoustic when we wanted to do a radio interview.
The album not only came out so well, but the songwriting and I guess the organic nature of everything being put together in about a 6-month period of time, including the recording of the album, is really fast and immediate. And I love that about music and composition. The fact is, in less than a year, when this electric stuff started coming up, that all of us to this day are completely baffled as to where that stuff came from.
Measuring a summer's day, I only find it slips away to gray. Measuring a summer's day, I only find it slips away. The hours they bring me pain.
With these three guys, the chemistry is such that, it's hard not to write. When we were recording our album, we were biting our nails the whole time, trying to get it done so we could go back to basically writing.
That is true.
Yeah.
Now that the album's released and we're sort of in the promoting phase, we kind of are going back to whatever comes naturally, and that seems to be writing for us.
The songs that are on the album, in some ways, are really just coming into their own now, which is even better. It's in a live situation, there's going to be a lot of great surprises and a really fun, loose playing environment.